As we welcome you back to the Chatham-Kent Community Athletic Complex, it is playoff football with the Chatham-Kent Cougars Peewee Division. Mike and Mike back with you. Mike Renier along with Mike James. Lively crowd already here on this Sunday afternoon. Semi-final action. This should be a great one between Chatham and Brampton, Michael.
Yeah, the Bulldogs kicking off to the Cougars to get this one underway. That's a live ball. Cougars going to want to pick that up quickly, and they finally do. They'll have good field position to start, though. Brampton electing not to kick that one away.
So the Cougars will have it at the 46-yard line, just their side of midfield. Great season for the Peewees. Continue here on their home field in front of a good crowd and some good weather here this afternoon. We've had some previous rain showers this weekend, but the field in pretty good condition today.
Oh, fantastic. And it's been a sweltering heat for, I don't know, about a month, would you say, that we hadn't seen any rain? And finally we got some yesterday, and it's just a super comfortable day out here in Chatham. Just a bit of a breeze, but so comfortable. A little bit of cloud cover, which is nice. It's not that sweltering heat that we've become accustomed to.
Quarterback Pico for the Cougars elects to hand it off, and some good yards right up the middle, and he might be all the way to the races, but now a good job by the defense to wrap up the running back for the Cougars, Skylar Mattia. We've seen a great season from Mattia. He gets past the 30-yard line. What a run on 1st and 10, the first offensive play of the game for the Cougars. And Mattia maybe setting the stage for this drive.
Mattia, first play of the game on offense, just outside run, finds a nice lane, just one cut, then through the hole, and he was nearly gone. Good pursuit from the Brampton defense, catching big number 50 from behind, but a big gainer for the Cougars on this very first play of offense.
We saw Mattia with a great performance last time in the quarterfinals. Quarterback Pico under center. Once again, he'll hand it off. This time they go around to that far side, trying to turn the corner for some positive yardage. And running back still on his feet. That's Caleb Roberts, who had that assignment. So a good pickup on 1st and 10 for Roberts. Even deeper into the Bulldog territory.
Nice first couple plays here for the Cougars, running that football effectively. Mattia first, and then Roberts on the second offensive play. And enough for a fresh set of downs. 2 runs, 2 first downs for the Cougars.
Very close to the 15-yard line of Brampton. And they started just 2 plays ago at their own 45. And once again, they'll keep it on the ground and to the line of scrimmage, and not much more on that one, as this time Pico grabbed the football and used his legs. Good job by the front line for Brampton to not have a big gain there for Chatham-Kent. He does get close to 2, though.
Yeah, good job by the Bulldogs defense that time. Coming up with a big play as the Cougars driving easily on their first 2 offensive plays. Be a nice way to open this playoff semifinal, though, wouldn't it, for the Cougars?
Absolutely. Once again, they hand it off right up the middle, trying to move the pile as much as he can as Mattia. Good job to keep those legs churning with a whole bunch of Brampton D players right in front of him, but it's still good enough to get about 4 yards on that run.
Yeah, going to bring up a manageable 3rd and 5. And Mattia, good hard running up the middle. He wears that number 50, so you know he can push a pile.
Absolutely. Ball at the 10 of the Brampton Bulldogs. First offensive stretch of the game. Great contingent from the Brampton area down to check a look at this one. The semifinals in this 2019 postseason. Cougars trying to get their first score of the afternoon. Going towards the end zone, trying to cut in. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Cougars! Caleb Roberts finds all the holes, and into the end zone he goes. The Cougars up early, 6-0.
Beautiful 10-yard touchdown run from Caleb Roberts. hits the hole, then finds a beautiful cutback lane, dances into the end zone, and the Cougars score on their first offensive possession. Great start to this Peewee semifinal.
A nice 1-2 punch from both Roberts, number 25, and Skylar Mattia, all rushing through that drive for the Cougars as they look to tack on another point here. And that one, I believe, just short, so it's going to remain a 6-0 lead for the Cougars as Larson just doesn't quite get enough on that one. But an impressive drive with the two running backs, the two main running backs of the Peewee Cougars, and they have an early 6-0 lead with 8.5 to go in this first quarter in the semifinals.
Yeah, the Cougars running the ball so effectively, not putting the ball in the air at all on that opening offensive possession, but as we saw there, no need to. Some big gains on the ground, couple big runs, and then Caleb Roberts ices it with the 10-yard scamper into the end zone, and beautiful way to start this semifinal Peewee playoff game.
Sawyer Emmett's going to kick this one away from the Cougars 45, and we'll get a first look at the Cougars D on this semifinal Sunday. Pretty good boot. Line drive kick along that far side. Keeps bouncing back. And all the Bulldogs could do is fall on it at the 30-yard line. So a good job, and really, for the Cougars to pin them back so far. And you've got to be happy for Chatham-Kent where this football is.
Oh, certainly. And the Cougars really nearly came up with that football. Again, as soon as that ball goes 10 yards, it's live. They find the open spot in the return team and kick it nearly perfectly, and as you mentioned, Mike, no return whatsoever, and pin Brampton back on their own 30.
Caleb Roberts with the rushing touchdown for the Cougars on their first chance of the football. Now it's Brampton, their first go on offense, and they also will start this drive on the ground. Lots of room along that far side past the 35-yard line. And that one, Jordan Parnell, who gets the first assignment on the ground for the Bulldogs. And he gets enough to move the chains up to the 41-yard line. Looks like they're going to mark it there. About an 11-yard run for Parnell. First and 10 for Brampton. Now I'm going to do it. He did it last time we were together. Brampton, and they leave it on the ground once again. And a nice little evading of the tackle there, getting rid of a couple of would-be tacklers. Once again, Jordan Parnell with the assignment. This time picks up 8, where it looked like initially he was going to have a world of trouble.
Yeah, Jacob Pretty, number 14 for the Cougars on defense, was able to come in and get a hand on him, but couldn't pull him down. A nice spin move there before Skylar Mattia had to come in and clean it up. But a gain of about 7 on that first down play for Brampton.
Almost halfway through this first quarter, 6-0 Cougars with the lead. About 3 yards to move the chains here for Brampton. And once again, they leave it on the ground, trying to go up the middle this time to get the necessary 3 yards. They're going to be pretty close. Not sure they quite got enough. They might be half a yard shy. It looks like it will be a third down coming up here for Brampton.
No,
or are they going to mark it?
Boy, they signaled. The signal was, yeah, okay, about where they're putting it now. It looks like you're right. Yep, first down. At first, where the foot was, it looked like it was going to be short, but it is a fresh set of downs for Brampton.
Inching towards midfield. They're at their own 50-yard line. Once again, they hand it up the middle, trying to move that pile. Running back still on his feet, getting close to 5 yards. Another impressive run right up the middle. Little showman there right up the middle. That's Kane Crossman with that assignment up the middle. A little bow at the end of that run as he moved the pile. Moved a whole big pile, almost 5 yards for that 1st and 10 run. So second and about halfway to go here for Brampton. Everyone going to the run, and they do it once again. Little pitch out to that far side, turning the corner, looking for first down yardage and a whole lot more. Still on his feet down that far sideline. One man to beat. Out of bounds. He goes, but a huge run there for Brampton. That time, Keyshawn Alexander. He only had one man to beat, and that looks like that was Tayshawn Hedden, who was that lone Cougar back there to force him out of bounds.
Well, that was a good job by the running back there because the Cougars had some good penetration, 2 defenders into the backfield, but good job bouncing it outside and using that speed.
Brampton ball at the Cougars 38.
And Keyshawn Alexander doing a good job running that football, number 70.
They moved it up to the 38 of the Cougars. And why not go back to the run, although this time trying to go up the gut. Stopped by the Cougars' front line. And that time, Damian Comer with the rush up the middle, but a good job by the Cougars' D to halt him at about 3 yards. So about a 3-yard pickup, 2nd and 7 coming up.
Yeah, Damian Comer, number 84, the quarterback. Not your typical quarterback number at 84. Probably doubles as a receiver sometimes as well. Might not always be their starting quarterback.
They pitch it off to the running back who tries to find a seam along the left side, does, and finds some positive yards once again. And just shy of the 30-yard line, it appears, so that will make it about 2 yards to go to move the chain. So a big 3rd and 2 situation for both sides coming up here.
Yeah, good tackle there by Connor Graham. Again, Jacob Pretty getting some good pressure upfield, but just not able to wrap up. And then big 33, Connor Graham coming in to finish off the tackle. Connor Graham already racking up 3 or 4 tackles in this one on Brampton's first offensive possession.
Big 3rd down play here for Brampton. They hand it off, and a quick stop. Connor Graham wraps up his man.
Yeah, 33 all over the field. Sorry about that, Mike.
That's all right. Only gains a couple of inches with that football. So now here's an even more important 4th down and short coming up here for Brampton.
we shouldn't have talked about it before the game got underway. We shouldn't have talked about it. Unfortunately,
we'll get the kicks out by halftime.
Yeah, I've jinxed us.
That's all right. That's all right. Big 4th down here for Brampton in Cougar territory. Trying to get a fresh set of downs. Cougars have some other things in mind. They pitch it out to that far side, and the Cougars will take over the football as the running back is stripped up well behind the line of scrimmage. Cougars football up 6-0.
Nice job there, C.J. Roberts into the backfield to make the tackle. Gets a piece of the shoestrings. And well short of the first down marker on 4th down, and the Cougars going to take over at their own 35. And you get the sense that this game is just going to be a battle of along the line of scrimmage. Who's going to be able to dominate along that line of scrimmage? 2 offensive possessions, 1 for each squad. Not a single pass as of yet.
And it looked like the Brampton running game was going to go toe-to-toe here with the Chatham-Kent ground game. They had some pretty good runs on this drive, but the last 2 plays, the Cougars D coming up big, enough to take the football away in a turnover on downs. A 6-0 Cougar lead, first quarter, 3 minutes to go in this semifinal Sunday here in Chatham-Kent. Cougars have the football back up by 6, and quickly a flag comes out. And you've got to think that might be against the offense.
Yeah, I believe that's going to be a 5-yard penalty. They'll march that one back. Coming out early, as you mentioned. That's our first flag of this football game with 2:46 to go in the first quarter. Clean game so far.
And it ends right there with that flag against the Cougars, a 5-yard drop back. So 1st and 15 now coming up for the Cougars. As Mike mentioned, it's all running so far. One possession for both teams. And both sets of running backs doing a pretty good job early in this football game. A high snap, and once again, the running game will continue. Some big strides around the near side. Here's a huge gain for the Cougars. No flags out there, still on his feet, trying to get to the end zone, trying to get past that one man, and he does, to the end zone. It's a Cougars touchdown. Caleb Roberts with his second major score of the afternoon.
A 70-yard touchdown scamper for Caleb Roberts. One offensive play, and the Cougars to the house. Caleb Roberts racking up the yards and the TDs.
Made it look effortless. Just some big strides, big speed for Roberts, and he scores his second major. Only 9 minutes and change into this football game, and the Cougars now up by 12, trying to make this extra point good this time around. Reed Larson will try it again. Up and good this time around, so Larson boots the Cougars to a 13-0 early lead.
Boy, fantastic response there from the Cougars. The defense does the job on that fourth down stop to get the Cougars the ball back on offense, and it takes exactly one play from Caleb Roberts to take it to the house. Just so happens it was his brother, CJ Roberts, that came up with the stop on that fourth down play.
So that family unit making a big impact in this first quarter as the Peewee Cougars look to punch their ticket to the finals next weekend. Semifinal Sunday today. A lot of football between now and the final buzzer, however. 2:24 to go in the first quarter. Good start. We can say that much at least for Chatham-Kent, up 13. I'll boot it away from the 45 once again. Looks like the officials are saying to the Brampton special teams, hey, get behind the midfield line here. Looks like that's what the delay is before Sawyer Emmett's kick from the Cougars 45. 13-0 for Chatham-Kent, and another end-over-end boot.
No, that was, we'll call that a practice kick. The Cougars thought maybe they had blown the whistle to get the kick underway, but they had not. The officials were over talking to the coaching staff for Brampton, and previously the officials were speaking with the Cougars coaching staff, so I'm not sure exactly what they were sorting out there, but they apparently had a message to deliver to both benches.
So Sawyer Emmett will get another kickoff here. Nice afternoon for football here in Chatham-Kent. And we can confirm that was a whistle to get things going once again. Another end-over-end kick fielded at the 45-yard line, about an 8-yard return for the Brampton Bulldogs. They will get close to midfield and now down by 2 scores.
Look like Jacob Pretty there, number 14, in on the tackle for the Cougars.
So a promising offensive drive last time for Brampton, stalled by some good D by Chatham-Kent. The last 2 plays stuffing the Bulldogs and getting the football back on a 4th and short that was not converted by Brampton. Trying to stop them once again here with 2:20 left to go in the first quarter. Once again, they will leave it on the ground along that far side. Running back still on his feet. He evades a couple of tackles. And a pretty nice run again by Jordan Parnell, who's had a few assignments early on in this game. And that's certainly one young man that the Cougars D is going to have to keep an eye on throughout this game.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Parnell looked like he was going to be dragged down for a loss and just managed to dance his way out of it and then got upfield. Parnell looks like a player that gets up to speed within 2 steps. I mean, all of a sudden he's got that burst of speed and he's running away from the defense, managed to gain 6-7 yards there on a play where it looked like he was going to lose a couple. So 34, very dangerous.
2nd and 4 here for Brampton, just into Cougar territory. And once again, they hand it off, and this time, good job by the Cougars defense, especially Ethan Williams, who is going to be credited with that tackle. And really nowhere to go, and no gain for Brampton.
Was 83 on the carry, who was lined up at quarterback. Unfortunately, our sheets, we don't have an 83, but good defense nonetheless from the Cougars.
No gain on 2nd down. He's 3rd and about 4 now for Brampton. Once again, they will hand it off and a kickoff to that far side, trying to get to the 1st down marker. Stopped it around the 50-yard line, just inside the 50. And that still looks like it's going to be 2 yards shy of the 1st down. Maybe even 3 yards shy of the 1st down, right at the 50. And so here's 2nd straight series of plays where the Cougars are in a 4th and short situation for Brampton, trying to stop them, get the football back.
Good pursuit so far from this Cougars defense. While the Bulldogs have had some success running the football, the Cougars have done a good job rallying to the football. It's not just a single tackler that's having to make the stop. Again, we have yet to see our first pass in this football game with 22 seconds and counting to go in the 1st quarter.
Another big 4th and short here for Brampton. And now the quarterback is flipping it off to the running back. It comes loose. It's still loose. The Cougars are going to get the football back, as it's a drop of 5 yards on that botched 4th down for Brampton. And the Cougars in midfield again get the football back with 9 seconds to go in the 1st quarter.
Well, that was all forced by the pressure that the Cougars got up the middle. That made that pitch off target, landing on the turf, and then it was anybody's ball at that point. But it was pretty much a dead play. Brampton was able to jump on it, but the turnover on downs for the 2nd straight offensive possession, Brampton turns the ball over on 4th down with that Cougars defense coming up big. Already up 13-0, and really starting to build some momentum.
And a timeout is going here to Brampton. 9.5 seconds left in the 1st quarter. Cougars looking good early, up 13-0. Cougars with the football back. Last few seconds of the 1st quarter, up by 13. Pico at quarterback. Pardon me, this is Emmett with the football. He's got some trouble. He lets it go along that far side, and it's hauled in for a big gain through the air past the 40-yard line. Bayless hauls it in from Emmett. And the first passing attempt for either side of this football game. It's a significant gain for the Cougars as we have completed the 1st quarter in Chatham-Kent this afternoon.
Beautifully executed passing play there. Sawyer Emmett gets a man under that football. Then Jaden Bayless does a great job coming back to the ball that hung in the air a little while. You wondered when it might come down. No defenders in sight. Jaden Bayless and turns it upfield, shows some speed and dragged down, but not before a pretty good-looking gain there for the Cougars, and they'll start the 2nd quarter with a fresh set of downs.
So now they kind of add another dynamic to their offense with that long pass play. First attempt in the air, let alone first completion for either side. And a good start to the Cougars' Peewee semi-final journey here this afternoon. Trying to find their way to the finals next weekend. A 13-0 lead for the Cougars. End of 1 quarter here in Chatham-Kent. Into the 2nd quarter in this semifinal Sunday. Cougars up 13. And with the football, with Emmett in the football, he has a completion near side to the 30-yard line. Once again, it's Emmett to Bayless. Back-to-back plays where those two hook up. And now the passing game starts to get a little bit warmed up.
Boy, you wonder if the Cougars almost wanted to try to catch Brampton off guard with 2 consecutive passing plays after we hadn't seen the ball go in the air by either squad up until the last play of that first quarter. But as you mentioned, Sawyer Emmett and Jaden Bayless connecting on back-to-back plays and leaves the Cougars with a 2nd and short here.
Good for about 8.5, that last pass play. 30-yard line of Brampton. And this time they will punch it out to the running back. They'll keep it on the ground, trying to turn that corner, but right there and stopping Pico for a loss is Brampton. So good coverage for the Brampton Bulldogs. That's going to drop the football back about 4, maybe 5 yards. And back to the 35-yard line. So this makes the 3rd down situation a bit more daunting.
It certainly does. And great pursuit there from Keyshawn Alexander for the Bulldogs, tracking down Elliot Pico from behind. Wasn't able to get the corner.
To the 28, that's what you need for that 1st down. From the 35-yard line. They're going to go back to the air once again. And it is off the fingertips of the intended receiver, Jacob Pretty. Couldn't haul that one, and he had some room in front of him. Just a bit out of his wingspan. So this is going to bring up a 4th down and about 6 coming up now. And it looks like they'll keep their same personnel and go for it.
Boy, Sawyer Emmett's really impressing me with his arm strength. A nice spiral there. It was just off the fingertips, as you mentioned, of Jacob Pretty, but really like put it out in front of the receiver exactly where you want it. Doesn't have to break stride to get to it, but just a little bit too far outside.
Here's a 4th down for the offense of the Cougars. Lively crowd here this afternoon, and they pitch it off to the running back. Does he have enough room? Can he get enough room to move the chains along that far sideline? And it looks like he will have enough. That is another big run for Skylar Mattia. And certainly in good hands is the running game for the Cougars between 50 and Caleb Roberts, number 25, the 2 of them having a great afternoon so far. 9:18 and counting left in the first half. And that's a big 4th down there for the Cougars.
Yeah, it certainly is. And big number 50 is pretty deceptive with his speed. Boy, it didn't look like he was going to get around the edge, but Mattia put it in another gear and got them that big 1st down.
Fresh set of downs here for the Cougars. They look to go to the air once again, and stumbling is the intended receiver, trying to go for 6 more points, and Bayless, I'm not sure if he would have caught up to that football anyway, but he falls down well short, and it falls to the turf, 2nd and 10.
Oh, Jaden Bayless is probably going to think about that one tonight. Wide open and just lost his footing. The turf monster got him and just stumbled him.
Once again on the ground for the Cougars. Along that far side, another big gain, and once again they'll hand it off to Skylar Mattia. And the chains move once again, so when you're looking for a big play, Skylar Mattia is your man, and he makes a big play there. Now there's an injured player along that far side. Actually can't see a number or even a team.
Mattia that actually is down there after getting tackled on that carry.
Off the injury timeout, and we hope to get an update soon. 1st and goal for the Cougars. 6-yard line of Brampton. And now looking towards the end zone, trying to go to the air, and turned around a little bit was Caleb Roberts. Had to come back in the other direction across his body. And just couldn't corral that football. It falls down to the turf. 2nd down and goal from the 6 coming up with 8:12 remaining.
Yeah, unfortunately that time Sawyer Emmett just putting that ball behind Caleb Roberts had to adjust to it. As you mentioned, spin back across his body and not able to pull it in. But Cougars really mixing things up here. First quarter, you get the impression it's just going to be a ground and pound all day, and then next thing you know, the Cougars have just completely opened up the playbook.
Second and goal. They keep it on the ground once again, trying to push towards the end zone. And it is close, but not quite past the line. And that's going to bring up a third and goal, but a third and short assignment here for the Cougars. Looked like they were destined to cross that line, but just came up short.
Boy, Jacob Pretty just kept moving that pile forward, didn't he? Right towards that goal line. He could almost sniff it. But that pile collapses, as you mentioned, just short of the goal line. Big, big third and goal here.
7:20 and counting left in the second quarter. 13-0 Cougars looking for more. Right on the doorstep on the 1-yard line, going on the ground, and they will move backwards. Right up to that task was the front line of Brampton. And a no-go there for the Cougars on offense. So this will now bring up a fourth and goal as they're backed up a couple of yards from that play.
Yeah, Sawyer Emmett dragged down in the backfield. Good news, though. It looks like Skylar Mattia has just come back into the football game after being shaken up on that carry a couple plays ago. Going to be lining up in the backfield, big number 50.
So we'll see if he actually gets this assignment or not. And fourth and goal for the Cougars, trying to march towards the end zone. Touchdown, Chatham-Kent. Their third major score of the afternoon. They punch it in from a couple of yards out. And it's 19-0 for Chatham-Kent.
And it was big number 50. Skylar Mattia comes back into the football game after being shaken up a couple plays earlier. Won't be denied, fights for that end zone, gets it in, and the Cougars now 3 for 3 on their 3 offensive possessions, getting another major.
They don't make it easy, and sometimes they don't make it terribly pretty, but they get the job done. And all kinds of flags come out before the point after attempt from Reed Larson, so he'll have to do it again. And it is a Cougar penalty.
Oh, it's against Brampton.
Oh, pardon me.
Offside call against the Bulldogs. And it will be assist on kickoff.
So that will be applied on the upcoming kickoff. So Larson will try this again. Someday. High snap, gets the kick away, and it is through the upright, so a 20-0 lead for the Cougars with 6:32 to go in the first half. So everything going right so far for Chatham-Kent.
Yeah, well executed extra point there as well. Reed Larson gets that kick up and good. Beautiful timing with the holder getting that ball down beautifully in sync. And the Cougars doing a great job on offense, really mixing up the pass and the run beautifully, keeping that Brampton Bulldogs defense on their heels. Brampton in a bit of a tough spot here now, trailing 20-0 with 6:32 to go in the first half. Cougars defense has been stout when they needed to be and have forced turnovers on fourth down occasions back to back.
Cougars going to kick it away from the 50-yard line. That 5-yard penalty against Brampton now applied. There's a Sawyer Emmett boot. A multi-hopper along that far side. Now a Cougars bounce. Goes past the return man by half a yard, and he has no choice but to just fall on it. A no return there. Logan Taylor, the return man. And a big lead for the Cougars. 6:32 to go until halftime. And they've made good on every offensive possession so far, and the defense looking very good, too, in a 20-0 game.
Yeah, good job there on special teams. The Cougars, again, that's the second time we've seen that, where the Cougars finding the hole in that return team, and then Brampton just forced to jump on it. before one of the Cougars is able to get on that ball and turn it over. And that forces, of course, no return, and the Bulldogs forced to start deep in their own territory.
Bulldogs keep it on the ground right up the middle. Dylan King with the assignment on the ground for Brampton. He picks up about half of what he needed to, so a 5-yard pickup on first down. And once again, they go right back up the middle. Another minimal gain here for Brampton. Looks like another one from Dylan King.
Yep, and Jacob Pretty in on the stop there that time, I believe, number 14 for the Cougars. Good job up front there by that Cougars defense.
3rd and 3. And again, up the middle they come. Can the Cougars stop them behind the line of scrimmage? Or pardon me, behind the first down marker, I should say. And it looks like they will be short, so another 4th down. They did get about 2 yards on that last run, so about 4th and a yard to go here for Brampton. And they've seen their fair share of this situation so far.
Yeah, it was big number 9, Dylan King, that had the carry that time, and he's just such a big body that he fell forward and able to pick up a couple yards when it looked like he was going to maybe lose or not gain any. And now it's actually King who's taken a knee, and they're blown this play dead. Looks like Dylan King was shaken up on that last carry, and they're going to bring the trainer out to have a look at him.
So a big 4th and 1 coming up. Big 4th down here once again for the Brampton Bulldogs. Cougars up by 20. And once again, they go to the ground, little pitch off to the right-hand side, and they will get the first down yardage and a whole lot more down this right side. Now heading towards the end zone. They will get their first major score. It's Jordan Parnell who gets the Bulldogs on the board for the first time this afternoon. It's a 20-6 Cougars lead.
Well, a great 4th down conversion there from Brampton. Boy, did they ever need it. They certainly didn't want to turn the ball over on downs, but the Cougars offense rolling, having scored on every offensive possession. And the traveling Bulldogs crowd loving this one. Good turnout here, as I'm sure you can hear them. They really travel well. And they've got this Brampton fan club fired up.
They're going to try and go for 2. They pitch it out to that far side, trying to turn the corner and into the end zone. They will get the 7th and 8th point. So a bit of a boost there for Brampton. With 4:39 to go in the second quarter, they're now within 12. It's 20-8.
Yeah, big 34 again. Jordan Parnell, after that big touchdown run, gets the 2-point conversion. And Brampton back in this one. Just 4:39 left in the first half. And that'll certainly give the Bulldogs a bit of momentum and probably give that Bulldogs defense probably a little bit of a shot of adrenaline as well, climbing back into this game.
4th and short situation there for Brampton, and certainly something they've seen a couple of times previous in this game. Not to a lot of success, but they turned the tide that time around. A huge run for the touchdown. And 20-8 is where we are now for the Cougars. 4:39 to go in the first half. And Cougars primed to get the football back to try and get the momentum back on their side. Now a little squib kick, that's a low one. The Cougars smartly fall down on it close to midfield. And that was Elliot Pico, who was pretty smart with that football. He didn't want to take any chances. Falls on it. And the Cougars will have some pretty good field position to start off this drive.
Oh, yeah, certainly will. 54-yard line, just their side of midfield. See if this Cougars offense can now respond after Brampton gets on the board.
And they've had nothing but success on offense, the Cougars, so far this afternoon. 3 drives, 3 major scores. And the Cougars would like to stem the momentum back on their side now with 4.5 to go until halftime. And now some early movement. Whole bunch of flanks coming out there. We'll see who moved first.
Yeah, I think there were a number of Cougars there. There might have been some mix-up on the snap count. That is against Chatham-Kent.
So now the ball will be around the 50-yard line. 49-yard line. So 1st and 15 now as the task gets a bit tougher for the Cougars off that penalty. Quarterback rolling off to his left, looking downfield, airs it out well past everybody. The intended receiver, Jaden Bayless. And not only was it well out of his reach, but also out of the reach of 3 different defenders from Brampton.
Yeah, good coverage there from the Bulldogs. As you mentioned, 3 defenders around Bayless. Almost like Brampton knew exactly what the Cougars wanted to do and had it well covered.
2nd and 15 from the Cougars, 49. Chatham-Kent 20 and Brampton 8. Semi-final Sunday, trying to move on to the final championship round next weekend. Little pitch out to the left-hand side. It is caught. Yards after the catch. Pretty big here for the Cougars. He might be away. One man to get past. Still with a football and now wrestled down fairly aggressively. Jaden Bayless, but Bayless with a huge gain, and he uses his wheels to get fairly deep into Brampton territory.
Yeah, Keyshawn Alexander forced a ragdoll. Bayless at the end to get him down, but beautiful moves by Jaden Bayless. Sets up his block beautifully on the outside. Cut it back inside, and then it was off to the races. Then a nice stiff arm to pick up an extra 5-10 yards before he was thrown down by Alexander. Big play there from the Cougars.
The 21-yard line of Brampton. Cougars now rushing up to the football at the line. 3 minutes to go until halftime. They keep it on the ground to Pico, trying to find a seam along that right-hand side. And looks like he gets fairly good run on first down, about a 4-yard pickup.
Nice hole there for Pico to run through over that right side of the offensive line. You really got to give a lot of credit to the Cougars' offensive and defensive linemen. They've done a great job controlling the line of scrimmage. One of the reasons why they've been able to run the ball so effectively and protect Sawyer Emmett when he decides to go to the air.
3-minute warning has come and gone. 2nd down for the Cougars. Rolling left, looking towards the end zone. Jump ball! They've got it for the touchdown! Another beauty pass play. And the 4th touchdown of the afternoon for the Cougars.
That was
26-8.
Caleb Roberts, number 25, with his 3rd touchdown of this football game. That one a 27-yard TD reception on a beautiful throw from Sawyer Emmett. That's the hat trick for Roberts, his 3rd touchdown, and that one of the highlight reel variety.
Great concentration in the end zone. Nice toss, though, too. And the Cougars come right back off of that Brampton major score. And now a little trickery. They're going to go for 2, and they're going to get the 2-point conversion. Another pass from Emmett to Caleb Roberts. And they will restore a 20-point lead. They match the 8-point touchdown play the other side with one of their own. And a 28-8 lead now for the Cougars with 2:44 to play until we have the halftime.
I'm not even sure that was actually the call. I think the holder, the Cougars decided that there was just too much pressure to get that kickoff, and they went to the alternate. You always have that alternate play built in case anything goes wrong. Somebody always runs out for the 2-point conversion, and it was just beautifully executed, and Roberts comes up with the snag and gets that extra 2 points. that helps make up for the failed extra point on one of the earlier scores for the Cougars.
The kickoff from Emmett. A flag comes out immediately. A line drive kick that's fielded by Brampton. Past midfield and more. Here's a run back deep into Cougar territory. Still on his feet, and towards the end zone. We'll see what the flag comes up with, but that for now is a Brampton touchdown. Josiah Thomas somehow stays in bounds. What a play by Thomas, and he rumbles into the end zone for a major score. Now let's see what the flag has in store here.
Looks like it's coming back, but boy, 3 Cougars defenders tried to push him out of bounds, and they just bounced right off of Thomas. Boy, that was entertaining. Thomas staying in bounds the whole time, and big 21 just bouncing Cougars defenders off of him. Nobody able to wrap him up. Took it to the house, but this one is coming back.
Nonetheless, a impressive run from Thomas, but it all goes for naught in the score sheet. So the 28-8 lead for the Cougars remains. One way to describe the crowd here this afternoon is lively from both sides. So they'll re-kick this thing now once everyone's on the same page and knows where to line up.
Offside call against the Brampton Bulldogs.
So the Cougars will kick this one again from their own 50-yard line. 2.5 to go until halftime.
The Bulldogs fans letting the officials know they're not happy with that call.
Negating a great run back bun from Thomas.
Yeah, I'm going to say kick it away from number 21 this time.
Yeah. Brampton fans want that same thing to happen. And this one, another short kick. Fielded by Brampton. Staying on his feet. The run back not quite as successful from Tristan Hall-Luckman for the Bulldogs. Doesn't quite make it up to midfield. So that time a little less successful on the run back, but the Bulldogs do now have the football and 2:20 to work with in this second quarter.
Yeah, Jacob Pretty and Jaden Bayless in on the stop that time, and certainly much more effective. And now we've got an injured Bulldog taking a knee over here on the near side where the tackle was made.
Off the injury timeout. Brampton on offense. They have a little pitch off to that far side on the ground past midfield into Cougar territory. And still running back has the football. Finally comes down just inside Cougar territory. So looks like a pickup of about 5.
Looked like it was Caleb Roberts on that far side swinging him around before finally the rest of the defense rallied to take him down.
And I wonder if that's now a turnover that we didn't see.
Yeah, it looks like it's...
I think the Cougars have the football. I did not see the takeaway. So with 2:07 to go in the second quarter, the Cougars somehow take that football away with little to no fanfare from the Cougars. Didn't see any kind of celebrating there. They're really hard at work here this afternoon.
Yeah, it was Keyshawn Alexander with the carry, and you could see he had the ball out like a loaf of bread.
A quick pitch out to the near side, a completed pass, and a first down and more for the Cougars. Past the 40-yard line, hauling that one in, Elliot Pico. And now everything coming up Cougars here in this first half as they look to add to their lead with under 2 to go until halftime.
Elliot Pico train with the catch on the outside. Nice little passing play, easy pass and catch, and then Pico turns it upfield. Just using his speed to get to the outside, rack up the yards, and easy fresh set of downs there for the Cougars.
Close to the 37 of Brampton. And now the fumble off the snap. Quarterback has to recover, still with it. Trying to turn that corner. along that right side. Still on his feet. Takes a whole bunch of Brampton players to take down quarterback Emmett. And all things considered, with that fumble off the snap, that wasn't a bad play.
No, not at all. Sawyer Emmett making something out of nothing. As you mentioned, he bobbled the snap and was able to scoop it up. And luckily, did not get dragged down for any kind of loss and picked up maybe half a yard.
Cougars back at it. They go to the air once again. A man open, and he got a reception towards the end zone. Can he scramble in? Just a bit short. But again, Elliot Pico's concentration with some decent coverage there from Brampton, but Pico hauls it in for a huge gain. 1st and goal, Cougars.
Pico with a couple of big grabs sandwiched in between that fumbled snap from Sawyer Emmett on the last play, but Elliot Pico racking up the passing yards along with some rushing yards as well. Beautiful, beautiful pass from Sawyer Emmett. Boy, Sawyer Emmett's really impressed me with his arm strength here today, and the Cougars doing a great job of mixing up that run and pass and have had a lot of success in the air.
1st and goal from the 5 for the Cougars on the ground, trying to punch their way in. They get positive yards, but not quite enough. Just a little bit short. 2nd and goal coming up after a gain of close to 4. 71 seconds of playing time until halftime. The Cougars up by 20.
Yeah, big Skylar Mattia was trying to punch in his 2nd touchdown of this afternoon. He won't get it on this play as he heads to the sidelines for a breather. We'll see if the Cougars don't go to the air right here.
2nd and goal. Rolling off to the left. They do try to go to the air. They've got a reception into the end zone. There is a flag in that far side of the end zone, but for now, another Cougar touchdown. We'll see if it stands. Good play call there, Mr. James.
And it is a touchdown. It was against Brampton. And Jacob Pretty with his 1st touchdown of this football game.
5th touchdown of the half for the Cougars. Their offense looking just fine in this game, 34-8. And Reed Larson trying to tack on one more. High snap. Larson's kick is up and through. 35-8. The Cougars have a commanding lead. 46 seconds left until halftime.
Boy, the Cougars just doing a great job. That Brampton Bulldogs defense is just not able to predict what the Cougars are planning to do. They've been so effective on the ground, and then the air game has just come to life in the 2nd quarter. Again, the Cougars only had 1 passing play in the 1st quarter, and it was the last play of that 1st quarter. And it was effective. And this 2nd quarter, the Cougars, I almost want to say they passed the ball more than they've run it. And I don't blame them, because it's been just this great passing game from the Cougars. Sawyer Emmett, the lefty, has really impressed me today with his ball placement. His accuracy is phenomenal. Has a great touch on the football, and some of his receivers have come up with big plays as well. So the Cougars offense, very balanced so far in this football game. And Brampton, on the flip side, we have yet to see them put the ball in the air.
We'll see if they put that in their bag of tricks as we get closer to halftime here. Sawyer Emmett will once again kick it away from his own 45-yard line. A little angled kick along that far side. And it's a live ball. Did the Cougars get it back as it crosses the 50-yard line? And I believe it's Chatham-Kent football as they are pulling out all the stops. Everything going right for the Cougars, including special teams.
Yeah, C.J. Roberts able to jump on it. It looked like it was a perfect bounce for one of the Brampton upmen to grab it, and it looked like it just went right through his hands, and the ball was just sitting there for C.J. Roberts to jump on. And the Cougars going to go back on offense with just 45 seconds left in the first half, and the Cougars now calling a timeout.
Whole bunch of early movement before the snap there. 3, maybe 4 flags come out with 45 seconds left in the second quarter. A 35-8 lead for the Cougars, looking to move on to the championship round next weekend. Likely not a home game unless, from what we're hearing, Oakville has to lose their semifinal game. Not favored to happen, however. Now 1st and 15 as the Cougars get a penalty against them. Backs the football right back up to midfield.
Certainly the Cougars don't want to make any mistakes here. You don't want to give the Bulldogs any kind of momentum heading to the half. So as much as you want to put some more points on the board, you do want to be a little bit careful here.
They go to the air once again. This time it falls in no man's land. 2nd and 15 here for Chatham-Kent.
Good pressure there. That's the first time I think we've seen any pressure on Sawyer Emmett as he dropped back to pass the football. That has affected him. Looked like he took a hit there just as he was releasing that football.
Second and 15, and now a world of trouble here for the Cougars. Can they get out of it? Maybe they can. Look at this run along the near side. He's got some room in front of him. Let's see if he's got enough speed. To the end zone they go. Touchdown, Cougars. Skylar Mattia.
Wow. Skylar Mattia. Big 50 can truck.
Unbelievable run. Looked like he was in for maybe a sizable loss. But he turned the corner left side, and he was faster than anybody else in that football field by a fair bit. And the lead widens for the Cougars. They're just putting up points at will now at 41-8.
Skylar Mattia with his second touchdown of this game, a 55-yard run. And boy, Big 50 can move. He has got some speed. Get him into the open field, and he just showed you right there, he can outrun defenders.
And it will say a 6-point game, as the 2-point convert is no good, but still a sizable 41-8 lead for the Cougars. 27 seconds left in this fairly long second quarter, but we've seen a lot of points.
Yeah, we certainly have. But certainly when you see Skylar Mattia, I mean, he is one of the bigger players on the Cougars squad. But to see him break away like that, you just don't expect, especially with somebody that's got a 50 on their jersey. You know, typically
you think
a
lineman
or you know, a linebacker, and but not with that kind of speed. But I think Mattia is turning some heads today here. Brampton's certainly not going to underrate his speed anymore. Just able to get the corner and then run away. Just really, really impressive running there from Skylar Mattia, especially in a play where it was slow developing. The pitch was a little bit high. He wasn't quick getting it. Not like it hit him in stride. But some good blocking up front, too. You got to give the blockers up front some credit. And certainly part of the reason why the Cougars have 41 points on the board in this first half.
Another line drive kick. Goes past everyone from Brampton back towards the 30-yard line. And forced out of bounds well shy of the 40-yard line.
Good coverage there from Jacob Pretty, forcing him out of bounds.
Pushed out of bounds at around the 38-yard line.
Down to 24 seconds to go until halftime. Cougars 41 and the Bulldogs 8 in this semifinal Sunday. Great season by the Peewee squad for the Cougars. A little bit later on, the junior varsity squad will have their first playoff game of 2019 on this field.
And the junior varsity team, very impressive. They finished in first place, didn't suffer a loss in the regular season.
So they begin their playoff run tonight. Bit of a break here with 24 seconds to go until halftime. First and 10 for Brampton. They go to the ground along that far side, trying to find a seam. Big open hole along that far side. A big gain, maybe 6 points here for Brampton. Looks like they're going to go right to the house for a Bulldog touchdown. Untouched all the way down that far sideline. Keyshawn Alexander. They do get more points before halftime. 41-14 is now the score.
Boy, Alexander just running away from everyone. Got to the edge and wasn't looking back. Not the defense we've become accustomed to seeing here from the Cougars in the first half.
Trying to get the 2-point convert and trying to rumble his way in. Now does the ball come loose? Somehow they recover it and into the end zone for the 2-point convert. So an 8-point touchdown.
Just how you draw it up. Keyshawn Alexander with the carry. Number 70 gets knocked out of his hands by one of the defenders and falls right into the hands of the quarterback, number 84. And he's able to take it in for the for the 2-point conversion is Calmer.
So 41-16 on that very unorthodox 2-point convert. That is good for Brampton. 57 points total in the first half. Cougars still very much in control here. 9 seconds left to go in the first half.
Cougars return team's going to want to be wary of a little squib kick here. Brampton probably try to get on top of it.
That's exactly what happens, but the Cougars up to the task right at midfield as they fall on it. And we'll have it around mid. 8.4 to go until halftime. Cougars still up 41-16.
That was Jude Sherborne who was able to jump on that football for the Cougars. Good heads-up play. Recovered it cleanly. And I got to imagine the Cougars probably just going to run a run play here or take a knee even and head to halftime.
And they do take a knee.
Yeah, I think they did.
And one more, and it will be officially halftime. So a great first half by the Cougars. An offensive explosion. And they now have a 41-16 lead on the Brampton Bulldogs. Bulldogs do get that last major score of the first half to come back a little bit. But the task will be tall for the visitors to come back in this football game.
Yeah, it certainly will be. But it does give Brampton a little bit of light. Certainly heading to half, getting that last-minute touchdown of that first half. But the Cougars' offense, I mean, has just been phenomenal. And then on the flip side, the Cougars' defense done a pretty good job as well, giving them pretty good field possession, some fourth down stops to turn the ball over. So the Cougars have really, really been effective on both sides of the ball.
41-16 for the Cougars. Halftime back with the third quarter coming up in a few. It's Mike and Mike in Chatham-Kent. Semi-final Sunday. As we're underway with the second half of this football game, and the Cougars kicking away to Brampton, just past the midfield. Short kick. And the Bulldogs will have the football pretty much right at midfield, and they've got a lot of work to do. The Cougars are up 41-16.
Brampton begins this third quarter at midfield.
In this semifinal Sunday, winner moves on to the championship weekend next weekend. Brampton will start off this half offensively on the ground and past the 50-yard line. That is Parnell once again, big number 34 with the rumble down the field. Gets close to 7 on that run. We'll say a good 6 anyway.
Good to see Parnell back on the football field. Remember, late in the first half, he had to be helped off. He was limping quite a bit, and obviously got some time to heal up in the half, and looks to be back to full strength, so good to see.
Second down at about 3.5 here for the Bulldogs. And a couple of flags come out immediately. They pitch it off to the left-hand side. And for now, they'll get first down yardage. Cuts back to the right-hand side. Still on his feet. Finally, it's whistled down. About 3 flags, maybe 4 are on the field here. And we'll see if this play stands or comes back. Looks like this one's coming back, and it's against Brampton. March this football back to the Bulldogs side of the field, close to the 50-yard line.
I'm sure if this was pre-snap.
So second and 13.
Oh, okay. So it was holding. The Cougars decline it, and then 13 men on the field. And so they marched that back.
Second and 13 from the Bulldogs side of midfield. And they pitch it off to the running back once again along that far side. Gets past the original line of scrimmage. Picks up about 5. Just shy of the 50-yard line of the Cougars. So now third down and about 6 for Brampton.
Mattia and Connor Graham in on that stop.
Once again, pitch to the running back along that far side. He's got the yardage to move the chains. A first down run along that far sideline once again. Jordan Parnell getting the lion's share of the work here in the first part of the third quarter. Trying to claw his team back into this football game.
Yeah, big 34 running angry there. Finishing off that run strong. Running over a Cougar defender before finally being dragged down, but boy, he is tough to bring down. Big 34. Parnell has been a truck for this Brampton offense.
And he's been working, so I'm sure we're going to see a lot of the workload go his way with this pretty sizable deficit for Brampton. Once again, they leave it on the ground up the middle. And the QB hangs onto it that time around. And it's good enough, about close to 3 yards on that run up the guts. Second and 7 coming up here for Brampton.
Yeah, they like to run that play a little bit. Brampton does. I think that's about the 3rd or 4th time now we've seen it. Just try to keep the defense honest. call the quarterback sneak, the quarterback keeper, and see if they can pick up some free yards. And it's not a bad play, nearly a 4-yard pickup on that one.
As now Brampton will have a timeout, down 41-16 to the Cougars. 8:45 to go in the third quarter. Back at it, 2nd and 7 for Brampton. Connell, the quarterback, looking to pass. A rare sight for this one, and good pressure by the Cougars. Falls incomplete, and now a flag comes flying out.
Yeah, that ball did not go anywhere near the line of scrimmage, and there was no intended receiver over there.
8:39 to go in the half, or pardon me, in the third quarter. And that's a bit of a boost for the Cougars. Stems the momentum a little bit for Brampton.
Brings up a big third down here. As I mentioned, the Brampton got a bit of momentum going there with that late score in the first half, despite the Cougars' big lead. 41-16 isn't insurmountable. You'd like to see the Cougars come up with a big stop here and kind of halt the momentum that Brampton has slowly built up.
Third and about 17 here for Brampton as they pitch it off to the left-hand side, trying to turn the corner. Cougars, good job to close that seam. And that's stopping one of the big boys as well, as Parnell got that assignment. And the Cougars did a good job to get over to the left-hand side quickly.
Good job by the big number 50, Skylar Mattia. He's having himself a gain. Beautiful, beautiful pursuit. Then squares up on the running back and drives him backwards to the point where the officials have to blow the whistle because the forward momentum was stopped. And now a big fourth down here for this Cougars D. Chance to flip the field, get that ball back to their offense.
By far the biggest distance to go on fourth down in this football game. As now the quarterback will keep it and go off to that far side. Fourth and a long way, getting some yards back along that far sideline. Can he get enough to move the chains? And looks like he'll be stopped well short.
Boy,
valiant effort, though, by Brampton on fourth and long.
I don't know. This is...
Or is it closer than we...
I think this is going to be... Yeah, that's enough.
Oh, wow.
The Cougars, at least 3 defenders had a chance to pull him down and could not wrap him up.
Incredible.
And Alexander able to get Brampton out of a big hole there on a fourth and long and get them a fresh set of downs.
From this vantage point, I didn't know if they got enough to move it, but on 4th and 17 on the ground, they somehow made it work. And are still in this thing. It's a 41-16 Cougar lead halfway through the third quarter. Brampton still with the football. Out of the gun. Once again, the quarterback now will flip it to the left-hand side to big number 34, who rumbles down the field. Still with it. Turns the corner to the end zone. Touchdown! Jordan Parnell, an unstoppable force in this third quarter. He was just warming up in the first half. He has had a remarkable third quarter so far. Rumbles down the end zone. This one's not done yet. A 41-22 game now.
Parnell just threw a Cougars defender right off of him. Looked like he was wrapped up and just got stiff-armed to the ground. Said, "Get off of me. I'm heading to the end zone." Parnell rumbles and makes this one a game.
6:20 to go in the third quarter. 16 straight points. Trying to make it more. And can they get to the end zone? Yes, they can. An 8-point touchdown once again. And now it's 41-24. So now Brampton coming back after what was a 41-6 lead for Chatham-Kent. You thought the game was long over, but the Bulldogs have come storming back, and this one's still within reach.
Well, it shows you how big that fourth down conversion, 4th and long, and Alexander came up with a huge run. Again, I think there were at least 3 Cougar defenders that got hands on him but could not wrap him up. And, you know, you got to make the big plays when you have the opportunities, and you give a team, you know, some light. And Brampton, that score at the end of the first half, I think just – you know, when you head to the half and you get a score, it gives you a little bit of a lift, a boost, and then you carry that over to the beginning of the second half, which Brampton has done, and you kind of get things rolling, and that's all you need, a couple plays, and it can really turn the tide, and certainly that looks to be what's happened here early in the third quarter.
Brampton now has the confidence. They've got the momentum. This is a big possession coming up here for the Cougars. They not only want to answer with a major of their own, but they want to take a considerable amount of time off the clock, too. There's still a quarter and a half to go, and too close for comfort if you're Chatham-Kent.
And the other thing that this has done as well for Brampton is get the Bulldogs fan club into it.
And they are certainly back in the football game. Good contingent of Bulldog fans making the trip. And now they've got something to cheer for the last little bit. Cougars now do have good field position as that short kick fielded cleanly by the Cougars right at midfield, if not a half yard into Bulldog territory.
Good job by Jude Sherborne. Second one he's recovered in this football game. That little short squib kick. Brampton trying to get that football back, but Sherborne does a good job just jumping onto it and holding onto it and giving the Cougars offense the possession.
They wind the clock again, 6:15 and counting remaining in the third quarter. Cougars looking to get some of those, if not all of those points back. A 41-24 lead. Quick pass along that far side. It is a complete pass. Turning the corner along the left-hand side. Lots of room here for Elliot Pico. He is tripped up and forced out past the 40-yard line. Looks like around the 38 is where he was forced out. But that's more than enough to move the chains. So a good response there for the Cougars and their first offensive play of the drive.
Yeah, nice job there. Good pass. Boy, Emmett puts it right onto Pico. It's an easy pass. Just swing it out to the receiver and let the receiver do something with it. Pico just had all kinds of real estate over there. Pick up of about 16 yards on that play and a fresh set of downs.
They pitch it off to the running back, right side, trying to turn the corner. Now some room to move to the close to the 25-yard line. Falls down pretty close to the 25, and that will be enough again. Back-to-back first down runs for the Cougars, so this is the bounce back you want to see for Chatham-Kent.
Yeah, great response here from the Cougars offense. Beautiful blocking out front that time for Pico. Able to get outside, and you'd love to see the blockers running out front, looking to get a hat on a man. And as you mentioned, the Cougars, this is how you get the momentum back on your side, is you keep running offensive plays back-to-back, picking up first downs.
.4:15 to go in the third quarter. And once again, they hand it off right up the gut to one of their stalwarts on offense on the ground, Skylar Batia, who has scored a truckload of touchdowns the last couple of weeks. And another good run on 1st and 10. Looks like Mattia picks up about 8. So a second and short coming up here.
And as you mentioned, taking some time off the clock here as well. You hand it to Mattia up the gut. And it's really it's a very simple play. And you're happy to pick up 8 yards on it, right? It's just a quick handoff. Mattia just muscles his way through, makes a nice move in the hole, and then he's tough to drag down.
2nd and 2 inside the 20 for the Cougars. Once again, it's Matea trying to get those 2 yards. And it doesn't come easy, but he does get enough for those chains to move once again. So a first down run for Matea. Gets the football to around the 50, actually the 58-yard line.
Sawyer Emmett turned around to talk to his running back and then went back up to the line and then realized quickly he wasn't behind center.
he was one man over.
Quick adjustment, though, by Sawyer Emmett. Good job, and finds the right man.
Rolling off to the left-hand side, the quarterback. He's got a man, and he has got the completion.
Oh, and he falls down short of the end zone.
Just shy. As Emmett rolled off to his left, found his man.
Looked like that was Jaden Bayless who made the grab. But Jaden Bayless looked like he caught that as he was falling backwards. And he's down as soon as he hits the ground, unfortunately.
First and goal from the 1, right on the doorstep. 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. To the ground they go. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Cougars. That was a big response for Chatham-Kent as they get 6 points back as they run it in for a big major score.
Oh, good to see Elliot Pico get on the scoreboard here. He's put in a lot of work in this football game, had some big catches, some big runs, and then it pays off there with that little scamper into the end zone. And as you mentioned, gives the Cougars some momentum back on their side. And on the flip side as well, as you mentioned, took some time off the clock, which was also needed.
Point after attempt is good.
Reed Larson gets an extra point up there after the touchdown. Every little point counts as we slowly dwindle down the third quarter here in the semifinal Sunday. 47-24. Actually now 48-24 now the score after that point after. So that is a big major score for Chatham-Kent.
Yeah, it certainly is. Gave the Cougars offense a chance to flex their muscle and kind of show Brampton that, hey, we're not rolling over here and giving you a chance to get back into this football game. We've still got plenty left in the tank as well. Beautiful response. It was a much-needed response from the Cougars. You know, when you head to the half with a big lead as well, you can kind of put your guard down. It's just kind of that natural feeling that you're up so far and that you can kind of coast to the finish line, and really you can't. And the Cougars, great job of responding there and kind of grabbing the momentum back from Brampton.
I think there was a wake-up call the Cougars may have needed. And now the kick goes over the one return man for Brampton, has to scamper back and just fall down on the football. So it will be from behind the 40-yard line that the Brampton Bulldogs will take over now. 1:57 left in the third quarter, 48-24. The Cougars with a 24-point lead. Quarterback now will shovel it off to the left, but a lot of time for the Cougars defense to see that play happening, and they're right on top of it as a loss will be applied here for the Brampton squad. Good job by the Cougars D to immediately see what was going on there, and that looks like a drop of at least 3 yards on that play.
Yeah, Connor Graham and a couple other defenders into the backfield. Well read by that Cougars defense, and then they all swarmed to the ball. The good gang tackle.
Second and long, once again, a quarterback keeper along that right side. trying to find a seam, bouncing off a couple of would-be tacklers, still on his feet, but seeing no fewer green and white jerseys. A lot of running there, and not a lot of pickup in terms of yardage. I don't think he got much past the line of scrimmage, maybe a half a yard pickup there.
No, he ran probably about 30 yards, but the Cougars defense rallies to the football, and that's exactly what you need. Keyshawn Alexander has shown that he's very effective at running it, but that Cougars D doing a good job to corral Big 70.
Now a 3rd down and 13. This is from the Brampton 35-yard line. In what looks to be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Quarterback again will keep it. Now he'll shovel it off to the right-hand side. Not a lot there. Now still on his feet. Cuts back to the near side, trying to find a big hole. He finds it. That was a big hole all the way down the end of the football field. This will be a Brampton touchdown. Wow. What a run for Jordan Parnell. Oh, my. Looked like he was down and out along that far side. Cougars couldn't take him down. And Parnell immediately saw a seam along the left-hand side of the field and took it all the way down for 6 points. And this offensive football game continues. It's now a 48-30 game.
I don't think the Cougars coaching staff is going to be too pleased with the tackling effort there by some of the defenders. Looked like a lot of arms just reaching out and not a lot of effort to wrap up Parnell. And to Parnell's credit, boy, that's some tough running. And then Big 34 turns it back across the field and then shows he's got some speed. And nobody was going to catch him.
Trying to get 2 points on the convert. And they do. They're able to run it in. It's now a 48-32 game, now officially done the 3rd quarter. And the Cougars' lead dwindles down to 16 now. Right back in this game now are the Brampton Bulldogs. They don't go away quietly at all.
No, it's just a 2-score game now with a couple of 2-point conversions. So 2-possession game. Cougars offense. See if they can come back out and respond. They did a great job of it in their last offensive possession. But Brampton is not rolling over, and the Cougars, the offense, like you said, did a great job on their last possession, but boy, everybody's got to make sure they keep their head in this game and they don't get too far ahead of themselves with a full quarter left.
There's a high kick by Brampton, fielded cleanly by the Cougars. And now the run back and forced out at midfield. You saw Caleb Roberts, he fielded that football, and it looked like he had the determination to run that one back, but he just gets tripped up and set out right at midfield.
Yeah, good shoestring tackle there from one of the Brampton defenders. Caleb Roberts certainly has plenty of speed.
Now safely in the 4th quarter. A 16-point lead for the Cougars. Trying to hang on here and move on to the finals next weekend. Who would have thought when you have 48 points on the board through 3 quarters, you have to hang on for a potential victory, but this one not over yet. Cougars have half a football field to work with here. As now a flag comes out immediately. And the handoff to Pico up the middle. Right back to the line of scrimmage.
For a moment, looked like there was some confusion there in the backfield on that play.
Looks like this might be against the Cougars.
Oh, and they're saying no flag,
right.
so they're picking the flag up. but it was just a short gain there by Pico on first down.
Flag is picked up, so that down does count.
Pretty much right back to the line of scrimmage. So 2nd down and 10 for Chatham-Kent. And they hand it off to the big running back who's got a lot of room to move. He's heading down that far sideline. One man to beat. He's beat him into the end zone. Cougars! Touchdown! Skylar Matea again with a touchdown.
Wow. Skylar Matea. Man, oh man. 54-yard touchdown scamper. That's 3 touchdowns for Matea in this football game now. He's got a 55-yarder and add that 54-yarder as well as a 5-yarder.
That's a pretty good day. And we still have most of a quarter to play. 41 seconds into the 4th quarter. Big score from Matea.
Good-looking kick there.
Once again, Reed Larson, he's put a few points on the board here this afternoon, too. 55-32 now the score for the Cougars. But again, you're giving it back to the quite balanced offense of Brampton, especially with Big Parnell, number 34, where he's made some special plays happen offensively. So still lots of time left in this game.
Yeah, really hard to believe how much time is left in this game. Still 11-19, a full quarter pretty much left in this football game. And these two teams just want to keep slugging away at each other on offense. It just feels like haymaker after haymaker, you know, one big play after another. You can do this, well, I can do that. You know, they're just punching back and forth. These wild swings that keep connecting.
Extremely entertaining semifinal here at the Chatham-Kent Community Athletic Complex. Kickoff from the Cougars from their 45. And Sawyer Emmett gives it a boot. Line drive caught by the Brampton squad. And a good tackle by the Cougars right at midfield. So again, good field position for Brampton. They now have half a football field to work with. Just over 11 minutes to go until the end of regulation. Quarterback keeps this one now. He shovels it off, and now it falls incomplete. And they're calling it an incomplete pass and blowing the play dead, as that one intended for Jordan Parnell. And that looks like maybe that was a little bit of confusion on the offense for Brampton there.
Yeah, they go with the run pass option, sorry, and the only difference there is that the running back was actually out in front of him. Usually it's a pitch backwards if it's covered. If the quarterback's covered, then you can pitch it back to the running back. That time the running back was actually out in front of him, so that's why it actually turns into a passing play, and it's an incomplete pass.
Once again, they keep it, and a run up the middle, and the Cougars able to rise to the occasion there. Only a couple of yards on the pickup, so now a 3rd down. And it looks like about 7 to go, so a 3-yard pickup on 2nd and 10.
Good tackle there from C.J. Roberts coming up into the hole.
3rd down and 7.
So here's an equally important 3rd down for the Cougars defense. Under 10 minutes to go in the 4th quarter.
Sounds like the Cougars are going to... Well, it sounded like they were going to call a timeout, but maybe not now.
Quarterback surveys the field. He's running out of time. Now it comes loose. Back to the 45-yard line, and it is recovered by Brampton. However, a huge loss and a good pressure there by the Cougars defense on the QB. Brings the football all the way back to the 45 for Brampton.
Reed Larson with the sack and the fumble. Brampton able to jump on top of it, but brings up a big 4-10. That's the first time in this football game that we've seen the Bulldogs drop back to pass the football.
First time.
First time this football game.
4th and 22 for Brampton. And quarterback keeps it, still on his feet. And now it takes a couple of Cougars, bring him down to the 50-yard line, and that's where the Chatham-Kent squad will take the football back. And we'll have some pretty good field position here, up by 23.
Nice job there from Skylar Mattia to come up and make the tackle. Looked like there was a chance for Brampton, but that was quickly erased by Mattia, and now we've got Parnell, big 34, taking a knee for Brampton, so this is going to be an injury timeout.
You already had that 4th and 17 that they converted on early in this second half, so you kind of held your breath at that 4th and 22. And fortunately, the Cougars are able to stop them on that one, take the football back.
Yeah, this is the second time we've seen Parnell take a knee as well. He was limping quite mightily at the end of the first half. He had to be helped off the field, but then came back after halftime. But like I said, second time we've seen him take a knee, so hopefully he's going to be all right.
Cougars back on offense, 1st and 10. Another big run along that far side, turning the corner. Big yards once again on 1st and 10 for the Cougars, and another big run for Caleb Roberts. He has been very reliable and very successful in this football game. They've relied on him a few times. And another first down run for Roberts, number 25.
Yeah, Roberts also has 3 touchdowns in the game. So 2 Cougars that have the hat trick in touchdowns, Roberts and Mattia. And 25 able to get the first down for the Cougars and not only keep this offense rolling, but take more time off the clock.
Under 8 to go in the 4th quarter. They keep it on the ground, up the middle, and moving that pile back a few yards.
That's Pretty with the carry, Jacob Pretty. That's a pretty good little run there on first down.
It's Pun Sunday with Mike James, a 6-yard run for Pretty. That was impressive. That was well done. 2nd and 4 coming up now for the Cougars. Looking to put this one away. High snap brought down. And once again on the ground, right up through the pile. And that's going to be good enough for a first down as he picks up about 6 on the run there.
Elliot Pico with the carry that time.
They've done a great job with spreading that offense around this afternoon.
Yeah, Pico's been heavily involved. Jaden Bayless on the receiving end. Obviously, Roberts and Mattia. And Sawyer Emmett pulling the trigger at the quarterback position.
6:35 to go. As they go to the air this time, a short pass. It is hauled in. And still on his feet up the middle. Still on his feet. Go to the end zone. Touchdown. Oh, Jaden Bayless. What concentration and footwork from Bayless to keep that play going all the way to the end zone. Put 6 more points on the board for the Cougars.
Wow. 17-yard touchdown reception from Bayless, but the most impressive part there was the stiff arm just throwing the defender off of him and then fighting his way into the end zone, ducking a would-be tackler, and just the pure determination from Bayless.
Another point after, which is good from Larson. 62-32, opening up a 30-point lead for the Cougars. And half a quarter left until they march on to the finals next weekend. Sawyer Emmett kicks it off after the major score for the Cougars. Brampton able to run it back, but tackled down around the 30-yard line. Good coverage by the Cougars.
Good tackle by Pico there. Staying in his lane, making sure he doesn't give up that outside.
Elijah Price on the return for Brampton.
Now we've got a Cougar down, taking a knee. I'm not sure. Actually, I don't think that's an injury. He's just tying his shoe. There you go. Jacob Pretty's fine. Just had to do up the lace.
30-point lead for the Cougar Peewees in this semifinal Sunday. And trying to go right up the middle on a sneak, but the Cougar D right there to stop him. Pick up of 1 yard as they fall forward with the football. So 2nd and 9 coming up now for Brampton.
That's that quarterback keeper again that we continue to see. That time, Keyshawn Alexander. We've seen Alexander play quarterback now here. This is the 2nd drive in a row, I believe. I see them go with a lot of the run-pass option with him at quarterback. Pitching it out to the running back if he's squeezed down by the end.
2nd down, 9 to go for the Brampton Bulldogs. Back to pass, quarterback in a world of trouble, still gets it away, jump ball, and it goes over top of the receiver. And that one falls just beyond the receiver and a couple of defenders in the immediate area too by the Cougars, down to 4:50 remaining in the 4th quarter.
That's the first time we've seen Brampton execute a passing play. They had attempted one earlier, but there was a quarterback sack. So they didn't actually get to pass the ball. That's the first time we've actually seen Brampton get the ball in the air. It's also the first time, I believe, that we've seen number 89 at quarterback, Kane Crossman, with that pass attempt. Not a lot. Not too often you're going to see 89 at quarterback. That's not
true.
Your typical quarterback number.
You don't see too many of them. Hard to believe, too, back in the 1st quarter, we didn't think we'd see a single pass from either team.
Yeah.
And that changed in a hurry. A good effort by Sawyer Emmett under center for the Cougars here this afternoon. A very well-balanced attack on offense for Chatham-Kent as they have a 30-point lead. Pass complete along that far side, but not much in terms of picking up yardage.
Good job there by Jacob Pretty coming up to make the tackle. They completed that pass.
Right to the line of scrimmage, if not maybe a yard drop there. 3:40 left to go in this 4th quarter. Pretty safe to say the Cougars Peewee squad moving on to the finals next weekend. What a great full performance in the semis today.
Yeah, Brampton put up a good fight here in the 2nd half to open the 2nd half after trailing 41-16 at the half. They had a late touchdown in the 1st half and then came out really clicking on all cylinders early in the 2nd half. But credit to the Cougars and the coaching staff keeping their players focused, and the offense has just continued to roll.
Cougars trying to take the football away, and now it's dropped. And looks like the Cougars scoop in to grab the football. That would have happened anyway on the turnover on downs, but it's been that kind of day overall for the Cougars. Most of the breaks going their way.
Yeah, Connor Graham in on that one. Able to jump on top of it, as you mentioned. Had Brampton recovered it, still would have been a turnover on downs. There's your 3-minute whistle.
Chatham-Kent takes over at the Brampton 20.
The Peewee season of 2019. It's just been a fun one to watch, and it's going to culminate and go into the championship game next weekend. TBD, to be determined.
Yeah, have to wait and see where that game ends up. But the Cougars, as you mentioned, can punch their ticket now to the championship game.
Goes on the air. Now it's received. A completion to the end zone. They come with a touchdown. There's a flag that comes out. So we'll see if that affects the outcome here. But a quick play right to the end zone for the Cougars. Let's see if this one stands. In a 62-32 lead for Chatham-Kent.
Too many men on the field for Brampton was the flag. So that pass complete to Tesman Haddon is good, and another touchdown for the Cougars. Make that 10 major scores today for the Cougars.
68-32 for the Cougars. As they will waltz into next weekend's championship game. The well-oiled machine certainly on offense. Defense doing a great job, too. As this kick is up and through, make it 69 points for the Cougars offense. Just an incredible display all afternoon.
Boy, it's Sawyer Emmett's been so sharp throwing the football. I tell you, that southpaw has really impressed me here today. Number 8 has been fantastic. I can only think of a couple passes that were maybe a little bit off target. One that went off the fingertips of one of his intended receivers, and then maybe another that was behind a receiver but still had a chance to grab it. But otherwise, I got to say, most of his passes have been right on the money. And his arm strength, like Sawyer Emmett is not the type of player that you look at and you're like, wow, he's got this big pocket presence. He's a big body, big frame. But for Sawyer Emmett, for his size, he's really impressed me with his arm strength that he's shown here today, and his accuracy and his trajectory. Like, I mean, the most of the balls have been like on a rope. They don't hang in the air for the defenders to make a play on them. Really, really just impressed with number 8.
And everyone's been in sync on the offense all afternoon long, with 2:37 left to go in the fourth quarter. Cougars 69 and the Bulldogs 32. Good boot there by the Cougars. Back into open field. Brampton has to go back to grab it, and only about a 5-yard run back from there. Big tackle. Down to 2:26 left.
Looks like that was Caleb Roberts with the tackle there.
Caleb Roberts on that stop.
Been in on a number of plays here for the Cougars today.
Clock back winding, 2:08 to go until the end of semifinal Sunday for the Peewees. Junior varsities a little bit later on as they begin their postseason on this field tonight. Quarterback down the field and a jump ball, and it goes through a couple of would-be receivers. Falls to the turf, incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up here for Brampton. 90 seconds left in their season.
Yeah, and that, I believe you mentioned it there, Mike, too, with the running clock now. Because of the point differential, that ball falls incomplete, but the clock continues to run. And just a beautifully played football game here from the Cougars, and just loved how both of these squads just back and forth, you know, throwing punches, mostly on offense. Just the scoring back and forth, particularly in this second half, has been really entertaining.
Short pass hauled in by Brampton. Once again, Keyshawn Alexander, he's put forth a good game here this afternoon. He makes it just shy of the 50-yard line. 45 seconds left in the game.
Got a machine on number 42 on that stop for the Cougars.
Good effort from Keyshawn Alexander today. Been in on a lot of plays for the Brampton Bulldogs, as has big 34 Jordan Parnell.
First down Brampton at their own 48.
A well-distributed offense this afternoon for the Cougars. The Peewees, a great season will continue. And now a short pass attempt, and it's picked off by the Cougars. An interception and a run back the other way. C.J. Roberts with the INT. And that's pretty much going to put the exclamation mark on this football game. Roberts' INT will send the Cougars to a championship game next weekend. A semifinal win in a big way, 69-32 over Brampton.
Wow, that's a fun way to finish out a football game with an interception like that for C.J. Roberts. Phenomenal performance today by this Cougar squad. You love to see a team play well when it comes to playoff football, and that's exactly what they did. You can't give the coaching staff for the Cougars enough credit. This team looked so prepared. They played so well. They were so focused, and they looked very sharp in their execution, in particular on offense. I mean, just phenomenal. You had two players that had 3 touchdowns each in Roberts and Mattia, and it was Caleb Roberts, not his brother C.J. Roberts, who ended the game there with the interception. I also had touchdowns there from Jacob Pretty, Pico, and Bayless and Haddon. Just well distributed on offense, and then of course running the whole show at quarterback Sawyer Emmett put on an impressive performance. This Cougar squad looks ready for the championship game.
And they're just a few days away from that happening. So a Peewee season for 2019, which has been amazing. It will continue next weekend. A semifinal win, 69-32 over the visiting team from Brampton as they defeat the Bulldogs, who had a great season in their own right. It comes to an end at the Chatham-Kent Community Athletic Complex this afternoon. Cougars Peewee squad moves on to championship weekend next weekend as they try to seal the deal on the 2019 season. On behalf of Mike James, Jeff Brooks on the camera, my name is Mike Renier. Keep it right here for more Chatham-Kent Cougars football.